Phillies are. I think the manager did a great job. Kyle Schwarber had an all-time season. Trey Turner, just everything that we had hoped that Trey Turner would be. The starting pitching, great. Christopher Sanchez developed into a...
Well, at least they're not talking about A.J. Brown. They're talking about the Phillies. The Phillies, I haven't covered much of them on my channel because Phillies have to show me. You know what I mean? They have to show me, then I start paying them a little bit more attention, man. You know what I'm saying? They're like in the same category of the Sixers, even though the Sixers can't even get to the damn finals. But in other words, I don't really got no faith in them, man. But I'm rooting for them. Go Phils. Anyway, yes, to the brother Alfredo, if I'm saying your name properly, man. One of my day one, subs, man. Yes, I did see the AJ Brown. Put it this way, I am familiar with the AJ Brown and Seth Joyner stuff, right? As far as AJ Brown coming at Seth Joyner about calling out BS. It's just that, again, first of all, I heard he put it up and then he took it down. Which, this type of, behavior from A.J. Brown, I'm not understanding. You know what I mean? If you're gonna say stuff, stand on business, man. It's the same thing like yesterday. We got to answer questions all week. Instead of talking about the Denver Broncos, all we're hearing is content about, A.J. Brown being unhappy and all that kind of stuff. That's the first problem. Then he gets an opportunity to talk about it yesterday. And he acting like it ain't nothing, not directed at nobody. It ain't nothing like, all right, if that's the case, all right, then let's just ignore him. That's what I'm saying. But I'm sure that's not what the media is going to do. So it is what it is, man. What I don't get is, what did Seth Joyner actually say that bothered A.J. Brown? That's number one. Then number two, call out the BS on what? You know what I mean? Like A.J. Brown saying, you're not going to call out the BS because, they pay you. So, number one, he's assuming that Seth Joyner is getting paid by somebody that is not allowing him to call out the BS that he supposedly knows. And what BS is that? Is it that he's supposed to call out the media? What's the BS is the first problem. So, I don't know what to make of what A.J. said. As far as him calling him an old heads, be tripping, or whatever it is he said. Listen, this ain't too different from a lot of 20-year-olds now that we're dealing in different walks of life. They just have a different mindset, different mentality. And I know this because I work within the city youth. This is part of what I do. You know what I mean? I don't just sit up here and just talk. In the city youth now, or just youth in general. Now, I mean, there's a sense of entitlement. You coming up in an era where accountability is different now. Like the Eagles that Seth Joyner played in is completely different from the Eagles that A.J. Brown plays in. Seth Joyner came up in the Norman Brayman era. There was no owner like Jeffrey Lurie talking things like emotional intelligence and all of that in terms of how you deal with players. He had to deal with Buddy Ryan. You know what I mean? Buddy Ryan will tell you straight up what it is. You know what I'm saying? You was a bum. You playing like a bum. You trash sit down. He grew up around Bill Parcells and those types of guys. You know what I mean? So Seth Joyner's whole mindset, is just going to be different from an A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown, he dealing with Vrabel, who's a tough guy, but I can tell Vrabel kind of dealt with him with kid gloves. There was never really any hard accountability. Had A.J. Brown been with a Bill Parcells or something like that, I don't think he would be the same. You know what I mean? It's certain things would just be considered childish or girly or less than, and I think that will weed a lot of it out. When you have a guy like Nick Sirianni, and I'm not even criticizing him here, I think Nick Sirianni's the type of guy Jeffrey Lurie wants. More like a personal trainer type of guy that wants to always be positive and, keep everybody going and keeping everybody together. And so far it's working. I mean, the Eagles, two Super Bowl appearances, during his tenure, a Super Bowl victory. You don't want to rock the boat when it's like that going on. But to talk about A.J. Brown in particular, I don't know if dealing with him with these kid gloves is necessarily the best for him. It may be the best for other players, but for him, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Now, the other issue with A.J. Brown, and this is what I'm hoping that it isn't, but it's more and more, this is becoming more of a theory, that he has an issue with Jalen Hurts. The nature of which I don't understand. Is it something happened with them personally? See, this is my thing. A.J. Brown, when he first comes to the Eagles, there's this idea and these thoughts that these guys are best friends. That, Jalen Hurts is his child's godfather. All this kind of stuff, right? So you figure, okay, these guys are close. I want to know what happened. Then we get Brandon Graham talking about, they're just implying that there was some issue between them, and A.J. Brown's put more effort into kind of letting it go, whereas maybe Jalen Hurts' side he did. I don't know. Was it, like what can happily can go on that people got to let go of? Did they get into a heated argument? And one called somebody, Jalen Hurts called him something that he felt like the A.J. Brown felt like he can't come back from? We just not cool no more when it comes to that? Is it work related? Is it related to work ethic? Sometimes they don't see head out of eyes because Jalen Hurts don't like to play Madden or don't like to do these types of things and go out. Whatever it is, what's the issue with these two dudes? I don't get. Was it a couple years ago when AJ might have first not been getting the ball and he getting frustrated and Hurts saying something, nigga, shut up. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe he did that. I don't know. But I do know they don't have to work. They don't have to like each other in order to work together, have a working relationship. I'm sure there's many players that aren't really buddy with other Eagles who are able to work together. You know what I'm saying? I think it's unfortunate that you start out that way, though, and then playing together turns into this. But, hopefully this isn't what's leading to A.J. Brown's discontent, because the problem with that is that's not going to end well for a wide receiver. At the end of the day, if it's related to performance and you feel like Jalen Hurts ain't good or is underperformance beast, and you don't feel like you want to play with him because playing with him is not going to get you your numbers or something like that, then why aren't you wanting to just be traded? Because what ain't going to happen is they're not going to bench Jalen Hurts and play somebody else. That ain't going to happen. If anybody ends up getting up out of here, it's going to be A.J. Brown. Right? So I don't get that. And if it's not that or anything of that nature, then what is it? If it's the coaches and so on, that I might be able to understand. Because I think a lot of the players probably have issues with that. There's probably questions about Kevin Patullo and guys like that. This guy hasn't proven himself. Everybody's proven more than him. But maybe they know better than I do. He's been the passing game coordinator for a while. They know a lot of stuff we don't know. You know what I mean? But one thing that is not going to end well is if he has an issue with Hurts. You know what I'm saying? But he's going to act like he don't, but he does want to be here. Something's wrong. And that's what I don't get about A.J. Brown and all the cryptic stuff. I don't get it. So we had all day, even though he tried to clear the thing up yesterday, in some ways it made the thing worse because now you got Hugh Douglas all day talking about it, went in on him. And then he did the Seth Joyner thing last night. And now that's a problem. So, man, I don't know at the end of the day. Hopefully, man, we could just have a game against Denver. Hopefully the offense could play well somehow. And I got a feeling that this could come to a head because he's going to be going up against probably, the best cornerback in the league right now, Pat Surtain II. And, I mean, it's ripe for an issue. For him to not be able to get open and Hurts not throw the ball because he ain't trying to lose a game just because you need the ball. the offense not be creative enough to get AJ open, I can see a lot of problems coming about. So, you know, this week is going to be interesting and very telling. But what I'm hoping is it's just a good game. And in that way, this stuff can go away for at least a week. If nothing more than just a week. All right, so those are my thoughts on this stuff, man. All right, peace out.